pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, before we go any further, will the people who are recording please identify yourself so our secretary can record it?
Matt with MHPTV out of Minersville.
Last name. What's your last name?
Matt Haslam Productions.
Okay, you ready? Ed Keller, WBRE, out of Wilkes-Barre, photojournalist.
Thank you. Jen, if you'll do the roll.
Mr. Kimmel.
Here.
Mr. Butler.
Here.
Mr. Andruchik.
Here.
Mr. Ragoda.
Here.
Mr. Reaver.
Here.
Attorney Evans is also here, myself, Manager Spittler, Don Cuff, our engineer, Mr. Darish, one of our council members, 2 laborers, Junior Troutman and Robbie Kane, and many, many guests.
Okay, thank you. All right, we need a motion to go into executive session for legal and personnel matters.
I'll make the motion to go into.
We have a second?
Second.
Okay, we're in executive session. Okay, we need a motion to go back in.
I'll make a motion.
I'll step in there.
Okay, back in there, okay. There's minutes in your packet. Look them over. Do you agree with them? And there's no problem, we need to pass them.
I'll make the motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. BJ,
Okay. Do you have those, Mel? Okay. Good evening, everyone. A lot of you know me. I'm Albert, or BJ Evans. I'm the solicitor for the Water Authority. Now, a group had put together a list of questions that Melanie, in conjunction with the board and also with our engineer, answered these. Okay? What we're gonna do is we're gonna pass them out. I know Marlon was the one who basically was kind of the leader or the guy who came forward initially with the questions. So I'm gonna pass them over to you. What we propose to do is, there are a lot of questions there, obviously. So why don't everybody look at them? You can come back to the next meeting and we can discuss anything in these questions, because we want to keep moving our business forward. If there's anything new you want to discuss, anything that you want to bring to our attention now, let's bring it. You know, we have the engineer here, we have Melanie here, we'll try to answer. But we'd like to, if it relates to these questions, why don't you look at the answers that were provided, because the Water Authority took some time in answering your questions, just like you took some time in developing the questions. So let's look at I'm going to pass them out to Marlon, and if you need extra copies, I'm sure we can provide them to you. Sorry, John.
That's okay.
And but with that being said, you know, I'll turn it back over to the chairman for any guest comments.
okay. Anybody have anything new to report? Are there any new questions?
I'm Jim Murphy. At the last meeting, I requested to go see the treatment plant. And Melanie took me and gave me a tour of how it worked. I've worked construction all my life and I've worked on various treatment plants, but by the time we got to that phase where the mechanicals were done, I never seen it. So for me, it was fascinating the way that system operates out there. And I walked away with a pretty good understanding of how the plant works and all. And for anybody here who has any kind of questions that would be related to the treatment, I'd be glad to answer your questions, so any way I can help out.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your comments. Okay. All right, next on the agenda, projects, engineers report.
Actually, I have a number of items for the authority's consideration this evening, and I'd like to start by sharing, first off, a summary of the projects that have been identified as potential uses for the funds that you'll be putting in place as a result of the bond financing. And as you may recall, the bond refinancing as well as the new money that was done under the bond financing basically put in place approximately $3 million as well as refinancing current debt. Can I borrow that? Thank you, to see if I'm the only one. But as you can see, it doesn't just concentrate on distribution. It does not just concentrate at the plant. It doesn't concentrate in facilities. It's a pretty wide distribution of water line replacements, as long as leak detection surveys, some improvements to facilities, as well as main replacements. And then we're also looking at the possibility of also adding a chlorine booster to the system. So the one project that you've already given us the authorization to proceed with is for the Route 901 water main replacement. As an update on that, the survey work has been completed on that, and we'll be starting preliminary design shortly. So knowing that, our hope is that by spring, mid-spring, we're out for bid on that project on the highway. I highlighted two project types on the list that I just handed out. And the reason I did that is DCED has announced two grant programs that they are soliciting proposals for, which are due in December. The first is what's referred to as H2O. It's a program where they will give you a 50% grant towards a 50% match. Project cost that they like to see for that program typically are in the area of $1 million or more. So what we've done is we've identified your water line replacement projects that are to be put in by the contractor, and they're highlighted in yellow. And what we're suggesting for the authority's consideration is that you apply for those projects totaling $1,055,000, and in turn offer a match of $527,500, with the other portion to be the grant. Your match would come from the bond financing, so it would not come from your current general budget, but it would come from the bond financing, simply because you're already committed to do 100% of that project. Obviously, if you can parlay that funds and be able to match it with grant funds, that's more you can do on your project list. So that's just one item for consideration. The second is their program called the Small Water Sewer. That program is an 85-15 match. That is for smaller projects, and what we've done is we've identified your water storage tank cleaning, as well as putting a mixer into that tank, and also for some SCADA improvements to be able to interface with the tank, as well as some communication within the plant. Total cost on that is approximately $400,000. We're requesting a grant, in this case, of $300,000 with a match of $100,000. I'd like to note that that match is in excess of 15%, it's actually 25%. We have found with this program that DCED looks favorably on applications that's able to offer more than the minimum match. So should the authority be willing to submit an application for that program, we're suggesting offering the 25% match versus the 15.
So it'd be $100,000.
It'd be the $100,000. So what I have for the authority's consideration this evening is the two resolutions that would allow for that application to be submitted. They're both basically standard form resolutions that the grant program provides, which identifies how much you're asking for from their program, as well as what your match is. And I would appreciate action taken should the authority look favorably at those two applications to be able to complete those resolutions this evening so we can have those ready for the December application. And I don't, is it necessary to read those verbatim, BJ? Okay, so the first motion I'm looking for is the approval of the resolution for the PA water sewer grant, requesting $300,000 towards the $400,000 water storage tank, mixer, and skate improvement project.
Okay, so we will need a motion for that. And a second.
I'll make the motion for the SCADA system upgrade, which is number 9 on
Is that
on this projected.
That's 8N.
8N.
8N, I'm sorry,
Okay.
8N, I'm sorry.
And we need a second.
I'll second it.
Okay. Roll call vote?
Mr. Kimmel?
Yes.
Mr. Butler?
Yeah,
Mr. Andrewchik?
Yes.
Mr. Pagoda?
Yes.
Mr. Reaper?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passed.
The second resolution I'm asking being passed this evening is for an application to the PA H2O grant program of PCED. You're requesting a grant of $527,500 to be used towards various water main replacements within the system, and you're also offering a match of $527,500 for that program, for that project cost as well. And with that resolution being passed, we'd be able to submit the application for the December deadline.
I'll make that motion, Mike, for the water main replacement project, number 5 on his project list.
We need a second. Okay. Roll call vote?
Mr. Kimmel?
Yes.
Mr. Butler?
Yes,
Mr. Andrewchik?
Yes.
Mr. Pagoda?
Yes.
Mr. Reaper?
Yes.
As a matter of an update, as you'll see on the project list there, we were recommending that a full-wide water system leak survey be done. That work was started a few weeks ago, and we anticipate that leak detection survey with all results will be in our hands by the end of the year, weather permitting. Last item I have for the authority's consideration is, as you've heard at previous meetings, DEP has changed what they refer to as their Chapter 108 regulations, which require certain improvements to what we refer to as your SCADA system, specifically in regards to response and record keeping. We're recommending the acceptance of a proposal from Keystone Engineering, who will be providing your SCADA services, and they would be making the necessary improvements to basically bring your system in compliance with the DEP regulations, and they anticipate that work to be done within the next 3 to 5 months. Total amount of their proposal is $37,100, and once again, BJ, as we've seen before, this is a professional service since they're doing SCADA work under that application, so I'm assuming we can do it the same way that we've done previously. So we're recommending the acceptance of the Keystone proposal dated November 12th, 2019, in the amount of $37,100.
So we need a motion?
I'll make that motion for the SCADA.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a second. Roll call vote?
Mr. Kimmel?
Yes.
Mr. Butler?
Yes.
Mr. Andrewchik?
Yes.
Mr. Pagoda?
Yes.
Mr. Reaper?
I have nothing
Okay.
further.
Thank you. Thanks for your good work done.
Thank you.
Okay. Solicitor's report.
Okay, just to follow up on what Don is doing, because there's gonna be some upgrades in the water treatment plant and also in the pipes throughout the borough, we are gonna be borrowing money, okay, to finance the deal. We need to amend the articles of the of the water authority to extend it for the term of the loan, okay? This was done before council, at the last meeting, council agreed to approve it. So I ask for a motion to amend the articles of the water authority to extend the term of the water authority so that the loan can be, the bonds can be issued.
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion? We have a second? We have a second? Okay, we have a second. Roll call vote?
Mr. Kimmel?
Yes.
Mr. Butler?
Yes.
Mr. Andrewchik?
Yes.
Mr. Pagoda?
Yes.
Mr. Reaper?
Yes.
A motion, I'd ask also for a motion to allow M&T to serve as the trust, or the register and transfer agent for the funds that are being borrowed for the project. Just a straightforward It's a pretty simple thing.
Okay.
They're gonna be the bank that.
All right.
Motion.
We have a motion, do we have a second? Okay. PJ, we need a
Okay.
roll call or not?
You can pass that straight.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion passed.
And the last motion would be that if the bonds requires a form of insurance, that the insurance is properly maintained. So I just act that motion.
Okay. We need a motion on that, of insurance?
And
I'll
I'll
second.
make the motion.
Okay, second?
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passed.
And then, just so we're clear, just so everybody, the closing will occur, we believe probably the last week in November, first week in December. So the funds will be available for the, for these upgrades in the system that Don has gone over. So, I think so that's that's kind of the time frame. So everybody here is anxious, I know, to get these improvements going. So it will be going right away.
Okay.
So that's the extent of my report.
Okay, thank you. Good job, BJ. Managers report.
Just to follow up on what BJ was saying, yes, the funds will be available end of November, beginning of December, but the timeline that we're looking at for all of the improvements that we want to do is approximately 3 years. Yes. So it's not like everything's gonna happen in the first 6 months. It's gonna take time. The first project that we're gonna start with is the main project, which is the highway, replacing the line on the highway. So that will be the first project. We've actually already started surveying and measuring and getting ready for that project. That's gonna be a contractor project, so that'll be the first one that's done. Also, just to touch on what Don said, we have a leak detection program that we're actually in progress with right now. We have an outside company that actually comes in the middle of the night and is listening on all of our lines throughout the entire system to detect any leaks, so that we can assess where the leaks are and then fix them. Yes, correct.
Okay.
Other than that, the only other thing I have is the coal receipts for the month in the amount of $919.90 for 7 loads of coal at 183.98 tons.
Okay. The written report. Which one we got there? How about the filtration plant report?
Nothing other than my written report, other than the fact that I met with Mr. Murphy this month and we had a tour and everything went well.
Okay, that's great. Okay, good. I'm glad you figured out how it works. It's
Yeah.
important.
Pretty cool.
Yep, it is.
Yeah.
Okay, treasurer's report.
September's is in there.
Okay, September's treasury report. Where are we? Okay. We have a motion to accept the treasurer's report from September. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. All right. Presentation of bills. There are bills in your packet. You looked at them prior when we signed off. We need a motion to pay the bills if there's no questions.
The selective insurance bill is in there, just in
Yeah.
case if you're wondering what that $22,000 bill is, that's what that is.
What type of?
That is our, yes, our property, our workers' comp, all of that.
Okay. All right.
I'll make a motion that we pay the bills.
We need a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Correspondence.
No correspondence.
Okay. Unfinished business. Blue Cross updates.
We had a meeting with the borough and the SOAR to discuss the Blue Cross and see if there were any changes we could make to help our rates at all. Our anticipated rate increase for this year was 1.3%, but if we look at the option 6 that the borough was recommending that we make, that actually brings our rate to minus 2.3%. So that would be, that's right, minus 2.3%.
It was a 2.3 or 2.9?
No, it started at 2.3.
Okay, it's 2.3%.
Right.
Okay,
So the option 6 is the one that they were looking to adopt, which basically just makes some small changes to the prescription and the emergency room copays.
yep, okay. So we will need a motion to recommend that we go with option 6.
Make a motion.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. New business.
The only thing I have under new business is, I was also looking at the handbook. They are looking to make some changes to the drug and alcohol policy within the handbook. It's not, I guess it's not real clear. So Katie Lynn Milbrandt, which is one of the council people, she actually sent me the county's drug and alcohol policy that's in their handbook and asked us to take a look at it. And then next month, if we agree with everything that's in that, we can vote on that to put that into the handbook.
Okay. All right. Who's that? Oh, go ahead.
Is it possible to get it, maybe provide them with a copy, just so that, you know?
So he has it?
With a copy, so he has a list of the project.
Oh, I don't have an extra
Okay.
copy.
I
I
no,
can use mine.
okay,
That way-
that way they have it for
Yeah.
their group.
Sure.
Mhm.
Well, he can, you know, have it with their questions.
Yeah. Okay, so that we give that all right? Give that to you? Yeah, just give that to Marlon. Okay. Marlon, there's a copy of this for
We'll get it to you now.
your group. Okay. Anything else? We need one more motion. Oh, thank you all for attending. It's good that you are involved in community activities. We appreciate it. Okay, now we need one more motion.
Make the motion.
Can we make a motion? Okay, and we need a second? Second. Rory, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Meeting adjourned.
At the last meeting, a group of concerned citizens presented a list of questions to the Water Authority. Those questions were answered tonight with a printed statement that was distributed to them. Please just give us a quick synopsis. What were the big concerns and what is being done to address it?
Actually, the questions covered the gamut of operations of the system, the history of the system, issues facing the system, regulatory, permitting questions. So they really did quite a good job of being able to try to create a profile in terms of what the daily issues are facing the water system. And so what we did was, working with the Water Authority staff and the Water Board, we tried to be responsive both in terms of what the past is held, what the current conditions are, and what's forecasted for the future, specifically the financing is being put in place for improvement.
So basically, to boil it down, people were getting brown water.
There have definitely been cases of dirty water in the system, and what we're trying to do is be able to show that there's a series of improvements that need to be made to be able to address that. And as the manager noted at the meeting, the hope is that over the next 3 years, we can basically try to rectify that.
Okay, the first steps were taken tonight with the approval of the financing.
Yes.
Okay, so give me a like you said, give me a slight rundown of those 3 years.
Sure. What the customers should expect is a lot of pipe work going on in town and on the periphery of the collection system. What they won't see is plant improvements that are made at the plant proper, because that's a fenced-in facility. But there's also operational changes that are going to be financed, specifically what we refer to as SCADA, which basically allows for computer operation of the facilities.
Okay, now the Minersville obviously is an old town. I'm assuming the infrastructure is correspondingly old, including the water system. how big of an upgrade is this gonna be? I mean, will the city be set for the next 50 years after this is done?
No, it's going to be incremental. We can foresee these type of improvements happen incrementally over the next 10 to 15 years. It isn't all the problems are not going to be captured in these next 3 years.
Okay, so the next 3 years, hopefully the water will be clean, but it ain't gonna take care of everything.
No, it's an old water system. If there's a break, you can pretty likely that there's still going to be dirty water, but we're hoping the likelihood of that is less.
And what can the Water Authority do to help the people in the meantime who are getting brown water? I mean, if this is a 3-year clock.
What I think they've already seen is the responsiveness of the Water Authority to go out and flush lines, to be able to go out and clean lines, to be able to react to these complaints, so that when it does occur, Water Authority staff, and that's been going on for quite a while, where they've been doing that to try to be able to be responsive to the complaints.
Okay. So the first financial steps have been secured, and we're looking at a 3-year time period.
That's correct.
With that interview, but with the problem, how do you know how big of a problem it actually is?
I'm sorry, you say the word big, I'm trying to understand. Big being...
You know the extent of the problem.
We know what the cause is if that's responsive to your request. Okay, basically, when you have water lines, they're typically either cast iron or ductile iron. As water passes through those, if they don't have a lining inside them, basically what happens is the water starts to corrode the pipe. What's released when there's dirty water is that sediment that's built because of the water interacting with the metal. So what we're doing now is we're trying to improve the hydraulics, so the likelihood of that is less, but we're also replacing lines where we know the condition is such that it's just going to generate dirty water on its own. So I think with improving hydraulics and replacing the lines, I think we feel now that we have a better feel on the magnitude. And this is actually a ongoing program that the Water Authority started years ago, but fortunately now got a kickstart with the funding that became available because of the market and the bond market.
And is this the problem in all of the lines in Minersville?
It's no. We have a lot of cement line pipes. They don't present that problem at all. It's the older lines that are either cast iron or ductile iron that present the problem.
Do you know how much of a percentage those?
I don't know off the top of my head.
And with this problem, do you see a lot more budget than what was presented today?
As I explained I guess I could say that to the gentleman previously, we see it as incremental. What we're going to do is we really do believe this is going to be a significant improvement, but I think after those 3 years we'll need to be able to reassess, see if there's still any areas in the periphery that maybe still on occasion get dirty water, and see what specific improvement needs to be those. I think what we're catching in this first $3 million is the more global improvements that most will see the benefit from.
How are you testing the water right now?
Actually, the manager would be able to, she would speak much better because she actually does the hands-on testing. DEP gives you a whole series of criteria that you need to test at the plant and within the distribution system. All of those tests are done on a regular basis, either daily, weekly, or monthly, and those results are submitted to the state. So we do that testing, but then I believe the Water Authority has started to do testing where, in response to a complaint, they take water samples to see what the chlorine content is and what the dissolved solids are, which is typically indicative of dirty water.
And now, from an engineering standpoint, if you guys see a problem arising during a certain day, is there a way to notify all the people in Minersville?
Yes, there is. I mean, the Water Authority belongs to what's a program called SwiftReach. SwiftReach basically has all phone numbers were given, email addresses were given. I don't believe it allows for text messaging, so they can put an alert out immediately if there's a condition that we believe warrants that kind of notification. And I think the Water Authority typically did that previously when there was a boil advisory. They've since done it now where there's breaks or there's a likelihood of dirty water, which just occurred recently when the testing was done for the Lofts project. There was hydrants that were to be flowed, so basically notices went out to all the customers letting them know that they should expect dirty water during that period of time.
And during that period of time, is there a way that, from an engineering standpoint or the Water Authority that you know of, to provide bottled water still?
Yeah, I think once again, I mean, if we lost service or if the water for an extended period of time was undrinkable, that's always been an alternative that the water authorities maintain. Fortunately, we haven't been in a case that I'm aware of that was necessary. Okay.
And why did you start the clean water Facebook?
Over the years, several years, I'm just tired of dirty water. One day I came home from work and needed a shower, and I couldn't get a shower because the water was dirty. And I ended up having to jump in my swimming pool, which was only about 58 degrees that night. So that really sucked. That's basically the reason.
And how often do you get dirty water in Minersville?
As of late, not too often, but before was probably 2-3 times a month.
And what would you say the state of the water would be?
As far as I'm concerned, not usable.
And for the problem, do you know the extent to how many people are affected?
As of right now in the group, I think we have 754 people in our group. So it's pretty extensive.
And what is the group's main initiative on this?
To push for replacement, push for water line replacement so everyone has clean water.
Exactly. With one of the things that I know about is the text message you're wanting to get notified of it.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk more about that?
As of right now, the email system seems to be a lot better than it used to be. Now, we checked emails as far back as 2013, and that was the last email that I've gotten from the Water Authority saying dirty water. Until recently, the past couple weeks or months has been a lot better, but 2013 was the last one. Text message, phone call, email, Facebook post, anything would help to say that the water's dirty, don't do laundry. Or, you know, for the elderly people that can't see that the water's dirty. It's important.
Do you think that the group definitely had an effect on why now we're getting emails?
I think it has, yeah, absolutely. I think it's pushing it forward.
And do you realistically think that the plan the board presented tonight of a 3-year term is realistic?
3 years at $55 million, and they're talking about $2-3 million projects at a time. Not in 3 years. No.
And
Now, don't get me wrong. What they're doing is better than nothing, but you're talking $55 million was the estimate we were given for parts only. So now we're taking out $3 million, which $55 million. That's a lot of money, and you're only taking little stabs at it. It's not enough.
are you afraid of your water bill going up because of all of this?
No, I don't care if it goes up. I just want clean water. It's just plain and simple. I know it's going to go up, but clean water is important.
And what do you think about Minersville having, or Minersville area for the Water Authority having one of the higher bills in the entire area for water already?
It's not the highest, but it's not far from the highest. Whatever. I mean, there's not really too many options. You're going to have to pay for your water. So however it works out, it works out. I just hope people understand that you're going to pay for clean water. That's just the way it is.
And your group, I know I'm a part of it, but not for the camera's sake.
Not my group, our group.
Our group. Do we plan on pushing this for years, or is this just until the first improvements are made?
I'm going to say as long as it takes to get what we want. If everybody's happy with the water they have now, we can end it now. But if people want cleaner water, let's keep pushing.
And your group did initial test on the water, or our group did initial test on the water. What are those test results?
We didn't get the results back yet. There's only specific days that you can send. They won't accept on Fridays, and it's going to take a few days, till we get the results. But we're waiting on them.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, thank you.